Hello friends and my lovely viewers. Welcome back to the channel of Prettiness. Today we will talk about our new Judicator called Voidlord. Let's get started. In Voidlord's active skill, we will deal 581% strength-based damage and knock back the target. Furthermore, we will smash the ground to launch enemies into the air. This action deals 855% strength-based damage, and once the enemies land, their strength resistance will be reduced by 41% for 6 seconds. Whenever we cast this active skill, we will gain a shield mirage for our Voidlord as well as the 2 lowest constitution allies, and our shield mirage has the same effect as the ultimate skill. To break down our active skill a little, we are basically dealing single target and AoE strength-based damage to the opponent, while also debuffing the enemy's strength resistance, meaning the opponent will be more vulnerable to strength-based attacks. The shield mirage effect is mainly giving our Voidlord more critical evade rate and critical damage resistance, but we will get to know this effect in more depth once we check out the ultimate skill. The active skill comes off as a DPS, debuffing and buffing type, and it looks really great in my opinion. I think the shield mirage may be the hype of this skill, but even the damage output and the strength debuff is very impressive. Let's move on to our passive skill next. From the beginning of our battle, we will gain a 6 seconds lasting control immunity, and we will reflect 9.8% of damage taken. When total damage taken reaches 4% of our max constitution, we will deal 12.8% of current constitution as true damage. The damage cap is 2000% strength. Additionally, we also receive an equal amount of max toughness, and the cap is 400% of our initial constitution. If our obtained max toughness exceeds the limit, then the ally with lowest constitution will be healed for 12.7% of our Voidlord's max constitution. It looks very complicated on paper, but we are simply reflecting damage taken, having control immunity, and we deal damage. Additionally, we gain more toughness stuff, which helps with defense, and we may also heal an ally a little. Our passive skill sounds tanky, like it's giving us some durability while also dealing damage. I like it even though I do not think this skill is super useful or game changing. Our amount of constitution is important to increase our toughness cap and to deal more damage, so we may want to keep that in mind for later. Overall, this is a great skill that will mainly help with defense and damage dealing. Let us move on to our ultimate skill next. Void Mirage. We will apply a shield mirage to all allies, which increases the critical evade rate and critical damage resistance by 34% and makes them immune to control for 8 seconds. During this time, if any ally takes 10% of their max constitution as damage, other allies will be healed with the mirage for 24.6% of Voidlord's max constitution and max toughness. The excess healing will be converted into a shield. Allies with the mirage, upon receiving damage equal to 80% of their max constitution, will immediately shatter the shield and consume 18% of their current toughness, becoming untargetable and immune to death for 4 seconds. This effect cannot be triggered if their current toughness is less than 50% of their max constitution. Our ultimate skill looks very promising, and I feel like this could potentially turn out as broken in battle. The skill duration lasts for only 8 seconds, but it's plenty of time to really make an impact. To explain our skill in more depth, all allies will take less critical damage and be immune to control effects. If any ally loses 10% of constitution, our mirage will heal all the other allies, and the amount is based on our Voidlord's max constitution and max toughness. So once again, it is important to keep the mentioned stats buffed up. Once our allies lose 80% of their max constitution, the shield will break and some of their current toughness will be consumed to make the allies untargetable and immune to death for 4 seconds. The critical resistance, the healing effects, and the immunity to death is the main points of this ultimate skill. Everything looks incredible on paper, and Voidlord may be a great asset in battle. Imagine all our allies becoming immune to death and untargetable for 4 seconds. Even the time set is incredible, as 4 seconds is a long time on the battlefield. This could actually be a broken skill if Voidlord acts accurately in battle. Anyways, enough chit chat about this. Let us check out the last skill. The description of our Judicator's special skill is really long, but I will do my best breaking it down for you. We begin by banishing the opponent with highest DPS power. If we do not banish an opponent the first time, The next time we will have 2 Void Stones. So maybe we can banish 2 enemies then? That's kinda what it sounds like. We taunt enemies and deal 265% strength-based true damage per second to nearby enemies and those next to the Void Stone. During the charge up, we reduce damage taken by 41% and we share 57% damage taken by surrounding allies. So basically we are shielding our allies from harm while having a damage reduction buff, which means we are not being affected much from being a human shield. Furthermore, we will deal 12.5% max constitution and max toughness as true damage and launch nearby enemies. The damage output does have a 2000% strength cap though. Once the Void Stone is shattered, our banished enemies will be released, but their max constitution, strength and fortitude will be reduced by 80% for 8 seconds. That is a massive debuff, not gonna lie. The stone shards from the Void Stone will attach to all allies for 6 seconds, converting 30% of damage taken during the 6 seconds period into permanent shields afterwards. About the Resolve collection, we will gain 260 Resolve points for every total damage taken equal to 8% constitution. This Guardian skill cannot be interrupted under any circumstances, and Resolve cannot be gained for 10 seconds after casting. This is a lot to take in, and it looks really broken, not gonna lie. To shorten our long description a little, we are dealing strength-based AoE damage, shielding allies, dealing more constitution-based damage, massively debuffing the banished enemies, and creating shields for our allies. I personally believe this Judicator's special skill is great in every aspect. The percentages look great, the effects are nice, and it all looks very promising. I am particularly very fond of the debuff our banished enemies will experience. It is the highest DPS powered enemy that will be prioritized, and that is a big thing. I feel like this Judicator is very protective of his teammates. We are healing allies or protecting them with shields a lot. But we also do other things like dealing damage and debuffing the opponent. So our Void Lord may be an all-rounder who deals damage, debuffs enemies, and buffs allies. Anyways, let us talk about his traits next, before we properly conclude. Void Lord's first clan trait is called Aquatic Barrier. At level 22, for the first 10 seconds after battle starts, increases all allied champions' strength resistance in the front row by 24%. This effect cannot be stacked. We are basically protecting our front row allies from taking strength-based damage. I feel like our clan trait could have been something greater, but it's not a waste having this on our Void Lord either. A lot of champions deal strength-based damage, and we can protect our allies from it, or we can place our Judicator into the front row to give him a layer of protection. I'm approving of this clan trait, since it's worth keeping on Void Lord. Our second clan trait is called Energy Harness. At level 22, when battle starts, we will gain a shield that lasts for 15 seconds, absorbing damage equal to 750% of their strength. This is also a clan trait meant to increase our protection. It is based on our strength, so the more strength we have, the better the shield will serve us in battle. I personally think this is an alright clan trait to have on our Void Lord. It is not super popular like our damage buffing traits, but this one fits the protective nature of our Void Lord very well, so I'm approving of this clan trait too. As for the 3 remaining slots, we may want to try Brutal for one of the slots. A level 22 Brutal trait will increase our Void Lord strength by 45%. This is important particularly for his active skill, special Judicator skill, and a clan trait called Energy Harness. Our Void Lord may not be super dependent on strength, unlike lots of other champs, but he still needs it to some extent. In our second slot, we may want to put the constitution buffing trait, like for instance Energetic. A level 22 Energetic trait will increase our Judicator's constitution by 45%. I personally think this clan trait may be very great for our Void Lord because of how reliant he is on constitution. His passive skill, ultimate skill, and guardian skill are all mentioning about constitution based attacks and whatnot, so this may be an important trait to give our Void Lord. As for the final third trait, we can place a trait to boost up allies or debuff enemies, or we can give our Void Lord an energy buff. It is a very flexible slot, so feel free to try out different things. For instance, we can place Energy Regen, which will at level 22 give our Void Lord 240 energy points whenever he takes active or ultimate skill damage. The cooldown is 8 seconds. This clutch rate is great if our Judicator takes damage often, as it will help him launch skills more frequently. We may want to place our Voidlord into the midsection or the very front if he doesn't take damage or if he turns out to be very durable. Do keep in mind this trait comp is just my very own personal opinion, and we can always try out other combinations for ourselves. This Judicator overall seems broken, which for sure makes him a better option compared to our Flammabane, and he may also be slightly better than our previous Void Harbinger. It is not set in stone yet, but there is a possibility. He focuses a lot on keeping the allies safe with shields and healing effects, and he can even make them immune to taking damage at times. I feel like Voidlord may turn out to be a centerpiece for our team comp, just like our Void Guardian. Our Void Guardian and Voidlord are quite similar, to be honest, since they both are defending allies and healing them. But I do think our Voidlord looks better on paper, as his skills are doing more extra stuff on the battlefield and so on. Anyways, it is relatively difficult acquiring this Voidlord. We have 2 ways of claiming him. Our first option is to sacrifice our Void Guardian, plus 1 warrior role champion, plus 5 advanced convergence gels and some gold. To be perfectly honest with you, I do not recommend using our Void Guardian as a gambling piece for this Voidlord. So instead, even though it's a bit more time consuming, we can sacrifice 1 tank role champion, 1 marksman role champion, and 1 warrior role champion plus 5 advanced convergence gels, 5 normal convergence gels and some gold. These materials are unfortunately very hard to come by, but that's just how it is. As much as this Judicator looks like a gem in Bloodline, I personally do not plan on acquiring this Voidlord. I feel like there may be a new and better option popping up eventually that perhaps will counter this one. So I don't want to invest my time or energy on acquiring Voidlord. If you personally feel like aiming for Voidlord, you can absolutely do so. He is a great Judicator who looks amazing on paper. So if you have the resources needed and you really want him, I personally think there is no mistake in converging this Judicator. Everything in this video is just my very own opinion, by the way. So it's completely alright if you disagree with me on some things and if you don't want to follow my exact advices. Feel free to make your own decisions and explore the traits and team comps the way you want to. I think we have covered the topic of today. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or thoughts you would like to share with us, feel free to comment below. To partake in our giveaways, subscribe to the channel. You may also leave a like or share the video with your friends if you feel like it. We highly appreciate your support and contribution. Have an amazing day and we will see you in the next one. Take care, stay foxy, adios, bye!